shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the canoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight, Elias knocked him out. Bow, Naruto fighting style. Bow, UFC he tapped out. Bow, we win, we get crowned. Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.
We good?
We're good.
Oh, yeah, I can see it from here.
Alrighty. Alright. Alright, let's think everything's going the way we're wanting it to go here.
Yeah, man.
Alright, we'll count it off in 3, 2, 1. Alright, man, welcome to SUYL. I got a guest in the studio. Why don't you give everybody your name?
My name is Cody Seigmund, skateboarder, artist, fisherman, disc golfer, all those things. Drinker, mostly.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with my algorithm, but they're showing a lot of disc golf lately, man. I don't know. That seems to be a resurgent.
The sport's coming up. Like, I started playing in the early 2000s. I twisted my knee skateboarding really bad.
Yeah.
And the doctor was like, you need to hike or do something to build the knee back up. And so I had a buddy. He was from Flower Mound up by Dallas. And I traded him a canvas for 4 discs, and I've been playing ever since.
Yeah, man. We have someone we know in common, Steven Tyler.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I know he loves the disc golf.
Oh yeah, man, it's just another hobby of mine, but it's one of those things. Like, I've been playing, like I said, since the early 2000s, and the more you play, the better you get, and the better you get, like, the more fun it gets. So
I'm sure, man.
Yeah.
It look. I mean, you see the throws that these guys can do.
Oh, yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
But it's pretty cool, man. It's like, I don't know. There's so much like buzz around it these days. Like,
it's like when pickleball was hitting off. Real
yeah, like
hard.
all kinds of stuff. Or even like I could actually put it in terms of I could follow the trends of skateboarding. Like when skateboarding first came out, it was a handful full of people that did it.
Yeah.
And like people thought they were kind of weird for doing it, and then it like got to a certain point, and now it's blown up like into a full blown like ESPN sports. So.
Yeah, that's pretty. I
Yeah.
mean, cornhole's kind of like that too,
Yeah,
right? Cornhole
yeah.
is kind of one of those real niche sports, and then
Yeah.
just took off.
But yeah, I started, like I said, back in the 2000s, and I got pretty good in the middle of like, you know, I don't know, like 2016, stuff like that. I started playing tournaments and whatnot, and I probably could have maybe made a career out of it, you know, with the right practice, etc. But there's a lot of moving involved. Like, those people literally travel the U.S. like all year.
That's rough, man.
And I got a buddy, he's a professional, and he's gone 8 months out of the year, but he still has a house here. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, so he's paying while he's on the road, and he's paid well. I mean, he's got several sponsors, and he does well in tournaments, but yeah, it's a lifestyle, man. Like,
Is it essentially the same thing as like kind of golf? You just
yeah, I mean,
same-
you know,
the same
follows the same principle, least amount of strokes wins, that sort of thing. And, you know, but the only difference is I think golf goes in yards and disc golf goes in feet.
Okay, yeah, that's.
But, you know, the top players are throwing 700, 800, some even 1,000 feet. Like, that's
Wow.
incredible, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's really incredible.
That's insane. Yeah, that's real. That's really cool. I mean, and I know that the discs are a little harder, little like different than
Yeah,
normal.
they're smaller in diameter, and they just have different characteristics. But it's kind of one of them things too. Like, I look at it the same way as like fishing lures. Like, every company, or skateboards or bikes even, every company makes a certain kind for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
And there's just so many discs that are being created now. It's pretty ridiculous because it's sensory overload. It's like,
Yeah.
any one of those discs could be used properly if you know what you're doing. But I don't know. It's a marketing technique. And, you know, I read in a magazine a while back, like, some lures are designed to catch more fishermen than fish. Like,
Right, yeah.
It looks a certain way, so people buy it. And
Man,
know.
there for a while, I used to, when I was a kid, I made flies for my old man.
Oh yeah,
It was a lot of fun.
wow, that's crazy. Are you from Taylor?
Granger Taylor.
Granger,
Yeah,
alright,
yeah. I
yeah.
grew up in Granger, so his one of his buddies was going through like his like transitioning out of his fly fishing stage and starting getting into bass fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And so like he was giving some of my dad like some of this like the stuff he wasn't using anymore. So he gave him like all the stuff to be able to make flies,
Yeah.
a good fly reel, and you know it was a lot of fun.
Fly fishing a whole lot because it's such like a, I don't know, like a purist form of fishing, I guess.
There's a very interesting technique
But
to it.
I don't know. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm like the 4x4 guy. Like I want a big gnarly reel and like big lures that I can throw super far. And
Are you trying to catch those super bass out in the middle of
it's funny.
The Gulf of Mexico or something?
Man, you don't have to have a big lure to catch big fish.
Right, yeah.
It does help. So it kind of goes back and forth. And like I was out on the jetties in Port A while back, I think last summer, and there was some schools of Jack Crevalle. They look like a tuna, but they're not like a real sought after fish. Some people, I mean, they're real fun to catch. They fight.
They're a lot of fun, but they're not
super good to eat. There's certain ways you can do them, but these guys were out there and they just pulled up on the school with flies and started catching them like on fly rods, and you know it's a burly fish that is definitely strong. So I was kind of like, it was admirable to watch them out there saltwater fishing with flies. That's pretty rad.
That's really neat. I would have never thought, to see something like that.
Man, they were probably from Florida or something, to be honest. But it is what it is. Like
you ever watch that guy who cooks steaks on YouTube, Hispanic guy?
Oh, there's a few of them, but yeah.
Yeah, he's a bigger guy from Florida.
Yeah.
Bald. He's always like dry aging steak and cooking with Wagyu tallow.
Oh, I love all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I watched one a while back. He just literally spreads it on like butter.
Yeah. Well, he cooked what are those called?
A redfish?
No, he cooked a snake. Those big old snakes out that they have out in Florida.
Oh, crazy. The pythons?
Yeah, the pythons.
Yeah, they're invasive species.
Him and his cousin. His cousin went out and caught like an 8-foot python, and they cooked it in like Wagyu beef or Wagyu tallow.
Yeah.
And he was like, it was literally like trying to cook shoe leather.
Yeah, I saw this one, and God bless Florida.
Yeah.
But apparently they have a whole lot of iguanas up.
Yes.
And so
Lake Fork guy?
I forget, but basically he had a snare attached to the end of like a surf rod, a big spinning reel, and he would just go down and lasso the iguana's neck and reel it in. And he has this chef guy that he works with, and the chef guy, like, basically they took the tails up and sliced them up and cooked those a certain way, and then the legs, they made them like hot wings, like apparently
like fish, like frog legs.
Yeah, but you've seen an iguana, they're a pretty big animal.
Yeah, they can get about the size of the size of a good cat.
Some people may duck and run at that, but I was kind of like, I'm curious,
Well, I mean, I don't think I could do it, but I've seen them eat those nutrients out in Cajun country,
Man,
possums and stuff like that.
They look too much like a rat for me.
Yeah, and that's just one of those.
I guess if you were hungry, man,
You ever get a chance and watch the Meat Eaters? He's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The guy from Meat Eaters, Steven Ranilla.
No, funny thing, I grew up Cajun. Like, my mom's dad is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So
okay.
We grew up on a lot of, like, wild game, which, I mean, Louisiana, it's a little bit different lifestyle, but I'm not too crazy into that. I really enjoy elk, and I really like bison, but I'm not super wild about like extravagant gamey meats. But I'll give it a whirl. I mean, if I'm at your house, I got this. Like, I'll give it a try. Why not?
So you're out there fishing, and I know you love to kayak. I always see you on the kayak. So you're out there.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer, man. I bought a kayak about almost 4 years ago, and I just like, where was I on this one?
Yeah.
And it's a lifestyle that I've really entered into, and like.
Well, you get to get in those little nooks, right?
It goes where other boats can't go, and I think one of my big deals, like I do sales for Texas Beer Company, and I do my artwork and stuff, and I like to go to bars and shows and drink, and you know, when they have a gallery opening, I love to go and mingle and stuff like that. So I'm really like a sociable person, but I get a ceiling, and I just want to be away from people.
There's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, your battery dissolves.
Yeah.
You need to recharge it.
Yeah.
The best way to do that is to get out in the country, man.
Yeah, and I
get out into the nature, get out of.
Yeah, and I'm inspired by it. I do really good thinking out there, like, and usually when I go out, it's not, I don't just go out for like 2 or 3 hours. Like, I leave around 11 or 10, 11, and I'm out at least by noon, and I'll stay out till dark. If not, sometimes I stay out after dark in the summer, like, especially in Austin, Lady Bird Lake, like, fishing's really good at night because it's so busy during the day.
Yeah.
So when it winds down and gets super quiet, like, the fish really get active at night.
Get to be around all those bats and.
Yeah, it's an experience, and like, I don't know, that's where I picked up the whole kayak thing, was while I was in Austin. I just moved back to Taylor back in March, so I'm gonna stay here for maybe till March, and I don't know if I'm gonna try to get back to Austin or move somewhere else. I hadn't really figured that out.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
it's been fun, man.
I I've always admired the nomadic lifestyle. Kind of just not really want to settle in any one place.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, life is about the environment you put yourself in.
Yeah.
And so if you're in a certain environment and you don't feel like you're moving forward or you're going backwards or whatever your general consensus of like your time period and what you've been doing is, and like I kind of feel a little bit held back here, but at the same time, like we're moving forward. This city's getting bigger.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
So
I mean,
like,
you could come back in like 5 years and find yourself in a completely different.
yeah, and that's kind of what's crossing my mind. Like I have some friends that live in Hawaii, and
Yeah,
it's like, why would I not move out there for like a year and just come back, put my stuff in storage at my folks'
the Big
place?
Island is popping off right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, man. My buddy, I have two people that I know three that live in Kauai, and then one that lives on Oahu. He was like a schoolmate of mine when I was in college, and they all of them, everybody kind of goes to Hawaii once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. I guess it's the equivalent of like us going to Houston or Dallas.
Right,
So,
yeah, yeah.
But it's pretty cool. It's just something I want to check out. It's probably not going to be the lifestyle for me. It seems like it's probably super expensive and people live really fast. But why not check it out?
I mean, you definitely could do some fun kayaking out there. I'm sure, throw your kayak out.
And it's pretty wild. You think of an island lifestyle a certain way, but there's plenty of inland spots. Like there's lots of places where there's waterfalls and rivers and other things.
Oh yeah, man, I'm sure it's beautiful out there.
Everybody doesn't always go to the beach,
Yeah, I mean.
So that's kind of on my thought list anyway.
I'm sure there's probably plenty of people in Corpus who don't go to the beach.
Yeah, man. That's a whole other thing. I got a lot of love for Corpus. Like I got some good people down there, and I know a few chefs and a couple of charter captains and just some skateboarding homies, like some disc golf homies. Like I got people that I've met along the way, either being in Corpus or they come to Austin or vice versa. But Corpus Christi is a really cool town, man.
Man, I love the, with the, I guess with like the introduction of new people brings life to these kind of places who.
Oh yeah.
That were kind of, like they're like we love little smaller, like Rockport.
Oh yeah.
Places on the outside of Galveston that are a little bit nicer, like quieter.
Yeah,
they're not as touristy.
I think that's one of the things too. Is like I always think about that is the older we get and the more time passes and society progresses, like it's gonna be more difficult to find that type of environment to where there's less people. It's serene, that sort of thing. Which I mean, it's all about what you're into, But I think 10 years from now, like Taylor probably isn't gonna be small,
Nah, man. I mean, it's gonna be one giant.
Yeah.
One giant. I mean,
Yeah.
I assume, I guess, because the way it's moving. I always call it dynamic imaging, but I think it's something different, and it's like Walt Disney's Walt Disney Corp's, like, I guess that's it's the entity that builds things on Walt Disney side.
Yeah.
They bought a lot of stuff on the other side of was it Wahlberg or whatever?
Yeah,
or
I've
not
heard,
Wahlberg, wherever going towards Granger.
So I got a few people in my friend
Circleville.
that are real estate agents, and it's interesting. There's a lot of people from out of state buying land here because of the progression that's going to happen, and who knows if that's a good or a bad thing. It's probably a mixture of both.
That's a mix. That's what I'm saying. So like Granger, Bartlett, Taylor are probably all just going to become one giant.
Oh yeah, it'll
conglomerate
eventually fill in. I mean, you look at like a metroplex like Dallas, it's pretty much like that. And I always thought that was kind of funny too. Like you go to Houston and they're like, oh, I'm in the Heights, or I'm over here, or I'm in the Woodlands, or wherever I'm at, Sugarland, whatever. It's like, isn't it all Houston? Like it is,
yeah.
it is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
But I think
you could go into what is it? Oh man, it's like going right into Houston. It's I forget what it's called, but
man, I can't. There's a few of them there.
But it's like the small little town going, like if you go in through South Side going into Houston.
Mm-hmm.
There's a small little town out there, and they have some of the best barbecue you could ever get.
Bet, yeah.
And like baked potatoes the size of your head with like pulled pork on it.
Yeah, my buddy I don't know, we're like crawfish people. We love doing.
Oh man, crawfish is the best. Yeah.
And he's like, I came in one time.
Put a crackle on it.
There's plenty of places you can go in Houston where like a pound of crawfish is like $5.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I'm like, dude, you've lived here your whole life. Like, where's the best crawfish? And he's like, Kadima. Or Kima? Kima. That's what it is. Kima. So we went to Kima, and I forget the name of the place, but it was the same thing. It was like $5 a pound, and you only got like 6 crawfish in a pound because they were huge.
Yeah.
But, man, I probably ate $60 worth of crawfish, and we drank a bunch of whiskey and stuff, and it was a time. Like,
yeah.
You know, Houston's a vibe. It's not just one big-ass city with a bunch of people.
When my sister was living there, they would have, if I'm not mistaken, she said that they would have Spanish, English, Mandarin, and something else on the call lines.
Yeah,
because there's a huge Asian influence.
Oh yeah,
in
100%. I'll tell you this, man. You can get some of the best pho in the United States and in Houston, guaranteed.
Oh, I'm sure of it, man. Like it's great. There's definitely like Korean Korean Tex-Mex influence over there. That's really interesting and. That's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
Have you tried the new hot dog place? That's the rave right now.
No, I haven't.
It's out towards Michael's Vintech Mall. Over on there. There's a little hot dog stand over there, man, and like the lines are ridiculous. We like rubbernecking it, like what's going on?
I mean, that's kind of a thing, and I don't know. I was talking to a buddy about that the other day, and it's just like, what
Steven?
kind of? No, one of my people in Austin, he owns a bar and stuff. And
oh, okay.
We're kind of kicking around ideas, and I was like, dude, like someone needs to open a diner. Like, there's no 24.
That was my idea way back. Like, I want a real true blue Dirty Spoon diner.
And see, I was thinking, you know, you could do it like this: you get a liquor license, and do alcohol and whatever, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then close that down, and then you know you don't have crazy drunk people in there. Which I mean, I guess you would, because there still could come in the middle of the night or whatever. But
you sober them up though too.
Yeah, you know, and I don't know. I find it a little bit surprising because when I was young in Taylor, there was Ferraris. And
yeah, Ferraris closed.
We would go in there in the middle of the night, you know, after skateboarding all night and doing our thing, and like there would be people in there smoking cigarettes, like it was back in the day. But it was open, and like there was always people there.
Yeah, COVID kind of did a weird thing on business hours though too.
Oh, I know it, and it's so funny. I used to joke. I was like, dude, apparently COVID only comes out late at night.
yeah, because
I was just like, why are all these places all of a sudden closed? When
per these like strange hours.
Yeah, and then like
nothing 24 hours anymore, and Taylor's not gonna be able to. It's not gonna be able to last that long. Whenever everything closes up at 10:30, something's got to give.
That's the thing, and it's like that market's there. All you'd have to do is have a place.
Yeah, my thing was there's a really beautiful. This is Taylor talk, by the way. If you live out of Taylor, sorry, but yeah. So like, there's the old furniture store.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that would make a great dance hall. But apparently you can only sell furniture out of there. So my joke was like every Saturday we sell the bar stools.
Yeah.
And then we make it.
Get new ones.
Gets new bar stools on Monday.
Keep somebody busy.
Sell the bar stools on Monday, buy some new ones on Friday, and.
Man, that's kind of funny.
But yeah, it was like we just sell the bar stools, making a dance studio.
But yeah, I mean,
a dance like because get some Tejano music out there, some good country music out there. A chicken wire fence and make sure that people can throw beer bottles at the
like
artists.
The Blues Brothers, right?
Yeah.
No, but I mean that's totally a thing. Like that market's here, and it's kind of like if you build it, they will come type.
Oh,
of
I'm sure, man, and it's just gonna come with time because I mean now, what is it? Oh God, what is it? Plowman sells liquor. And they have a nice little bar up there, and. I know that they're doing the Black Sparrow's doing their rice. I mean their rice wine kind of things.
Oh, that's a big deal now. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but you know, you go into the grocery store now and they sell Fireball.
Yeah,
and
and
if you read on the back, so it's not distilled. So technically, it's not the same thing, but the alcohol content's the same. So they're able to get around that kind of loophole scenario.
It's so funny the way loopholes work like that.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
you can sell Delta 8 because it's a derived CBD extracted.
But then if you're on probation and you come up dirty, you can't be like, hey, it was Delta 8.
Yeah, like you can't tell the difference. It's just.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just silly rules, But and I don't know if people have, if anybody's out there and you get to see it, man, it's really great. You got that really gnarly, beautiful mural out on the other side of
Oh yeah.
on the back side of the beer company, and I guess that would be the Shepherd's Heart.
Yeah. That was kind of an interesting thing. One of our buddies, Dennis Leviton, put that together a couple of years ago with the guy that owned the building, and there wasn't really any place to do freeform art like that. So this gentleman that knew Dennis was like, yeah, well, you guys come paint, one weekend. So we went out there and painted, and then I guess the downtown folks that run that into the biz for the city had a complete cow, and they were like, we can't have any imagery that isn't okayed through the city and yada yada downtown, which I completely understand. Like, you don't want something over there like super vulgar when kids and their parents are like taking pictures and stuff, so I get that.
I don't ever see anything too vulgar.
No, it wasn't like that, but it's just like, I get that concern. But at the same time, like, Dennis kind of pulled out at the last minute with the restoration project that happened with it, because it was essentially his idea. Yeah. And then it kind of got kicked around, and then now the city funded it, and I'm not going to talk too much trash, because like I'll get paid for art in any way I can if it's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
But a $200 stipend is kind of a crappy way to go about it, like, especially when you're an artist. Like, so when I did the new version, they primed the wall and had everything ready to go, but I had to spend $60 on paint before I even saw a check. Yeah. And then do the artwork and show them the complete submitted done deal, and then they cut the check. And that's like kind of in reverse order of the way I would do business. I mean, but I get it, because there are people that'll rip you off out there. But I don't know, it was just kind of odd. I've worked with the city of San Marcos, I've worked with the city of Austin, I've worked with the city of Corpus Christi, I've worked with the city of San Antonio, all high-end.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that these guys, I mean, no offense to Taylor, the city of Taylor, but it's probably a new venture for them. Yeah, totally. It's definitely new for them. I can't imagine that the arts center for commissioning a piece like that is, I mean, of course you could probably go about it as like the same way you did it. You could reference off of the other bigger places that have done it, but if you're kind of in a state of mind where it's like, no, we're just going to kind of figure it out as we go along and work backwards from the conclusion. Like, this was the first time that they're going to commission something like that. Right. And then get a little bit better, because I'm sure that, like, as things progress, if, you want to move forward and start doing more buildings.
No, man, and you completely sewed it up. That's kind of where I was going. It's like, no, I get this as a new venture, and I hope to see more of it. At least they're
definitely.
At least they're putting money out there for arts.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing, man. I mean, totally. I love seeing that people are coming from other towns and different parts of the, Texas and areas of the United States to have this beautiful little.
I got real lucky, man. Like, I kind of got grandfathered in. Like, I was skateboarding, and we'd spray paint stuff in ditches and spray paint our skateboards, and so it kind of became this like different medium that I hadn't really explored, and I was doing it at a really good time. And I kind of came into the art scene in the late 90s, like 97, 98, and then in the early 2000s I really started getting some recognition. Now it's come full circle, and like, it's kind of funny because like I started in a graffiti form, which was shunned in the beginning.
Yeah, I think once Exit Through the Gift Shop happened, it really took off as an actual positive art form.
I think the other thing is, like, you got to think, even if it's graffiti art and no one, or maybe everyone, doesn't understand it, there is like a beautification process that happens, and like some of these areas of like slummy places, these artists are doing really incredible things, and they're doing it for free. It's public, like, they're doing it so people can see whatever message they're trying to convey, and like, I think that's like the main allure to it, but I also think that's like why the mainstream and the powers that be kind of shun it.
Well, also on top of that, man, if my boy Josh was here, he kind of talks about the, when you get into corporatizing things or making things more corporate, it kind of, you get corporate art
Yeah.
as well, and everything kind of has to be the same. It has to be kind of looking the same, and there's a. I forgot who I was talking to, said that they had. It was a friend of mine. They said they had made a particular thing that they were eating, and it tasted so much better than what they had gotten off of the menu. And I was like, because you were. Oh, actually, I think it was Josh. Josh was saying that he had made a taco sauce that you could get at at one of the local taco places here in here in Texas. That's kind of corporate chain now.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, mine was so much better." And I was like, "Cause you're putting heart and soul into it. It ceases to be that. It ceases to be good after a certain point because, yeah, of course, it has the same ingredients in it, but it has to be shelf stable and it has to taste the same, and you can't add anything to it. You can't add love to it. You can't add that. That's what kind of makes Plowman's great. Plowman's great is because you got someone cooking back there.
Oh yeah.
And even though the hamburgers are going to taste exactly the same each time, every time they're supposed to taste exactly the same, you could go there on a Wednesday and maybe it tastes a little bit better. Maybe that person was in a better mood. Maybe,
I that's a good way to reference it. Like I work with Texas Beer Company. We make craft beer, and like some of our batches are better than others. But those little kind of back and forth movements, they can be accepted. I mean, some people enjoy it. Some people want it to be a carbon copy, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I think the art world, like that's kind of a similar deal. And one of the things that's going on that's kind of amazing me is skateboarding and art. There's just been a huge influx of females. Like there's just these little cute skater chicks that are just completely destroying the skate park, and like the dudes are like standing there just in awe for several reasens, but mainly because they're good skateboarders.
Yeah.
But
before anything else, they're just good skateboarders.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, I hate to say it, but sex sells, but that's not their they're not basing their entire existence off of that.
That's probably the worst outcome of it. Is that at the beginning they're great skaters and then they're trying to.
But see, and that goes into what I was going to say next is like the art world's experienced the same thing. There's just like a ton of these like really talented, very beautiful women that are starting to do incredible artwork on a large scale, and they're getting major recognition for it, which is awesome. Like I'm completely for it. But as a person who does the same thing, and I'm a 43-year-old man, like I've definitely gotten opted out of jobs, and they've gotten jobs or bids because of that. Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't.
Or maybe they're just a better artist.
Yeah.
Either way, but it's just funny to kind of kick that idea around because there's multiple ways to market yourself. And some people sell a brand, some people sell their own personal image, like however it shakes out.
I think that's kind of a great way to think about it. Is it easier or harder to brand or sell a 43? How old did you say?
Yeah, 43-year-old man.
Is it easy, or is it easier to sell a 25 to 35-year-old younger, mid-aged woman who is like kind of maybe even brings a spark of personality that you don't have, a spark of this or that or whatever. So I can see that, man. But we're also like me and my buddy. We're too fat loudmouths who are trying our asses off to get into a game that's run by the same thing. Like think about it, man. Like me up to I can name like 3 pretty boys.
Oh yeah.
That do podcasting that would probably run circles around me on advertising, sellability, personality. Maybe not talking skills because I don't know when to shut the hell up. I love to talk, but definitely probably got me on the looks and definitely got me on the.
And this is funny too, and I always think about this in terms of social media. Like I've always heard, any publicity is good publicity.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's bad or good. So same thing with like social media, like. It doesn't really matter. And, and I find myself falling victim to it too. I'm like scrolling through Instagram and this video pops up and I'm like 3 seconds in and all of a sudden I hate myself for even watching it. But at the same time, there was something that caught my eye.
Going down an auditor hole, man.
Yeah.
Those things are hard to get away from because you're just like watching those auditors and you're like, man, these guys are.
But
these guys are really
man,
weird,
it's so funny. I absolutely love social media. Like
going down a Tate spiral.
But
You ever gone down a Tate Spiral before?
I haven't, man.
You've never gone down a Tate Spiral?
I don't know what that means.
Andrew Tate?
Andrew Tate.
The bald guy who's like a misogynist.
Oh, nuh-uh.
Oh man, like everyone hates this guy. He's like a misogynist. He's been canceled off of nearly everything.
See, but there you go too, though. That's the thing. Like, this is what's so interesting about social media is like, yeah, man, be the most hated asshole anyone could fathom, and you're still gonna get views. Because,
man,
like, people just it was like, remember the Howard Stern movie?
Oh yeah,
when they're like top 10 reason or top 2 reason.
Alrighty, monkey men and women, it's that time of year again. It's the holidays. And I know money's tight and everybody's expecting a bunch out of you. I've got an idea. And my friends at Gold Star Finance have an idea as well. You can take out a personal loan, build up your credit for next year so that you can actually swipe a credit card or have some money laying around for next year. And also get your family taken care of the way they deserve to be taken care of this year. Now, I know you're probably thinking the last thing I need is some predatory loan, but the terms are agreeable. I wouldn't be pitching these guys to you if they were bad folks. We're from Texas. It's the good old boy state, and this is as good old boy connection as you can get. They're literal family, monkey mouth family, right? Stop in, go to the website, use promo code monkey in all caps, or stop in and mention that your boy sent you by. And get treated like the family that you are. And again, you take out this loan, give you some cash up front so that you can get your family taken care of for the holidays, and then also build up your credit so that you can get going for next year better, right? Building for the future and getting taken care of in the short term. What isn't there to love? All you need is a driver's license, a social security card, proof of income, proof of residence, and a working cell phone number, and you can walk out with a check today. No, it sounds too good to be true, but it isn't. Like I said, get your family taken care of right now. Get yourself set up a better credit next year. They're our friends at Gold Star Finance, Monkey Mouth approved. Hope you guys give them a visit. Thank y'all so much. Now back to the podcast.
Or top 2 reasons you like or don't like Howard Stern. I can't wait to see what he says next. Meaning, like, I'm disgusted by it and I don't even want to listen to it. Or I'm so curious, I can't wait to see what he says next.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You know what I mean? So
I don't know what's going on with Kanye West, man, but that boy just
Lord.
continues to torch his career, and he just got off the Alex Jones Infowar, and he definitely said some spicy stuff, man.
Well, you know, the thing with all that sort of thing is, I don't know, there's something to be said about that. Like, even if you're Kanye West or you're Donald Trump or whoever, whatever your persona that you like to put out there is, like, don't be just running your mouth, dude. Like, certain things can have serious repercussions.
Definitely, man.
And, like, you know what? Who hasn't been drunk before and just spouted off and said some dumb stuff and offended somebody?
I don't know, man, because like I've said I don't think I've ever said anything as horrible as he did, and I forget how they say it. What is it? What is it? The lips of a drunk man is the heart of of the sober man or whatever.
Yeah, it's like MF Doom, you know. Yeah. It's like your other persona.
Yeah.
But anyways, you get what I'm saying. It's like,
oh yeah,
you know, just because you're that type of outspoken individual doesn't necessarily mean that you should say every thought that comes across your mind. Because I mean, you know, as a person, I'm really into psychology, and I took psychology as a minor in art.
I think you and Josh hit it off well because he majored in psychology as well.
But it's and I mean, I had 2 semesters of psychology in college, and it wasn't super. I mean, that's nothing. That's the tip of the iceberg. If you're really gonna go in it. But I was a bartender for 12 years on like 6th Street and stuff in Austin, West 6th Street, and worked at a couple of different places like South by Southwest, special events. Like people, I mean, I served Bruce Springsteen and Budweiser one time. I bartended at Rick Perry's inaugural ball. You know, like that sort of thing. And it's like, I don't know, you gotta watch your mouth, you know, like especially with social media in the form that it is today, you know, like you can really say something that'll just destroy your career.
Yeah, I think it was that even Family Guy did a great episode where Brian like ruins his life with one tweet.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
He's like, I'm gonna go see, what was it? I'm gonna go see such and such. I think it was a movie with Ice-T and like Kevin Hart, and then like Baywatch, and he was like, I'm gonna go see a X movie instead of Y movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm not gonna go see Y movie because I have a high school education.
Uh,
And it was just like that was it. They were like,
Yeah.
it just torched his
Yeah.
career, or torched his life because he didn't have like a career. You know, he's just
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's it's based upon interpretation too. Like, you know, I had a buddy that got fired from a job a while back because he had a couple of shotguns in the back of his trunk, and you know, it was like dove season. He likes to hunt.
yeah.
So he was talking about dove hunting to somebody, and then that person left the room, and somebody else was just like, dude, you got guns in your trunk? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm going hunting like tomorrow or whatever. And dude, he came back from lunch, and there was like a cop waiting there, and somebody had gone to HR and said, hey, man, he's got guns in the trunk and all this. And obviously they weren't from Texas, because that's pretty common practice around here.
It's common practice to have disspent gun shells in your truck. And I mean, I grew like maybe not so
Yeah.
much now, but when I grew up in Granger,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was
Yeah.
they would ask him, hey, if you're gonna go dove hunting, don't park on the
Yeah.
school parking lot, and you know, do this or that, and you know, don't be stupid because there's a gun. You know, there's not supposed to be guns on there. You know, make sure you clean out the gun. But every so
Yeah.
often, someone would forget to clean
Oh,
out the
yeah.
shotgun shells out of the back of their truck. And
Well, what's funny about it is, like, you know, and this is what I tried to explain to him, because he was distraught by this situation. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't mean that, you know. But I told him, I said, man, I've known you since you were 16. They don't know you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, in today's society, with all the things that are going on in that department, like, yeah, I mean, don't fight.
the thing is that I kind of get frustrated with that. And you need to know people because I can think you can look at someone and tell the difference between someone who's maybe not so much. You know, I mean, everyone has their breaking point. You can't always read somebody, so this isn't exactly a real science. Don't take my word for it.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, don't try this at home. But I essentially think that you could tell the difference between someone who's an avid hunter and someone who's going to come in there and wreak havoc.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this guy was literally talking about it.
Yeah.
There wasn't any kind of there to hide.
No, it
if you would have been
wasn't.
like, nah, I really don't want you to know about the guns in my, then there's maybe something there. If he's kind of hiding it, if he doesn't want to, you know, then there's an air of like,
Yeah.
of kind of like how would you say it, an air of like kind of mystery or behind it.
Yeah.
He's like literally saying, I got shotguns in the back of my car, I'm going dove hunting.
Yeah.
Like, what's there?
Yeah.
I mean, now if he was to like, if they were to be like, you know, hey, we heard you had guns in your car. Oh no, I never said that.
But
Then there's something there.
yeah,
you know,
but
then there's
like I said, a perfect example of interpretation, you know, and like that's where.
But it is true. I mean, like, not everyone is. You know, they're gonna come across more of that because not everyone's from Texas. Not
Yeah.
everyone knows the culture
Yeah.
of Texas. Not everyone's gonna expect there to be. You know, I mean, the responsibility and the onus being on the person who has the guns, and then it's just like, well, you know, you can never tell what this person is gonna do
Yeah.
or what's gonna drive them over the edge, and I guess they have the necessary tool with them to cause havoc.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's all incredibly, like you said, it's all off of interpretation.
Well, I think what's funny in today's society with everything that we've seen, like in that compartmentalized space, is it's just like, you know, in the event that someone needs to be defended, then all of a sudden this person's a hero. you
Yeah.
know? But in the event that he's a psychotic MFer, like
Yeah.
then he's a danger. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what's so weird about today. Like
taking the gamble off of the good guy
Yeah.
with the gun
It's
is
rolling
it.
dice.
I mean, when you
Yeah.
hear somebody say like, "Oh, well, we shouldn't worry about it because there's always good guys with the gun,"
Yeah.
I mean, that's a risky gamble.
See, I don't know.
It's just a
like,
gamble. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but it is
Yeah.
a gamble because you're putting a lot of onus on someone who with a gun to do the right thing and to not hurt other
Yeah.
people around them.
And I'll tell you this, and this is my opinion, and you know we'll probably go somewhere else.
Yeah,
after
of
this.
course.
But you know, I feel very uncomfortable around 5 or 6 people with weapons. Like it just, I don't feel the need for it. I think like part of the reason that we live in America and we're dubbed free and all that sort of thing is so we don't have to pack a gun.
Yeah.
You know, it's not South Africa or anything like that. But you know, it's a very argumentative subject, which is kind of why I like to touch on it. I try to stay out of politics, but I think, you know,
Well, when a parade becomes political,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard for them to stay out of politics. When you hear, again, more Taylor talk, when you hear a parade become political,
yeah,
and it's just like, unmitigated ridiculousness of like misinformation, even in these small towns, it doesn't seem to help. Like,
No.
there doesn't seem to be even the person. I guess even it's so funny because even the people with the most reason and trying to rally the situation almost get snuffed out by the by the irrational.
Oh, I know it, and it's, I don't know. That's just one of those things. I think that's part of a small town vibe, and I hate to say it, but everywhere I've been, that it's been similar. And I try not to like typecast, but there are those types out there. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the thing is that when I have people in my family talking to me about whether or not it's safe to go to a small town parade, there's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, there's a problem. Because, like, I don't want my nephews to ever feel like I'm the kind of person that I'm not generally happy, and I don't generally never generally feel safe.
Yeah.
I don't care what situation I'm in. I don't care if I'm in my own house, relaxing on Christmas Day. Anything could pop off.
Yeah.
I'm never really too relaxed, and I'm not generally ever too happy.
Yeah.
I know this sounds kind of sad.
No,
Maybe it's not the best way to live life, but I'm never
it's,
I'm never a person who I always think of happiness as the same thing as a Ferrari or as like an Xbox or a PlayStation. It's something to sell somebody.
Yeah.
Like they always try and sell you happiness, and it's one of those things that's kind of achieved with your own personal behavior.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So like you can find yourself happy with really nothing to yourself but a fishing rod and a kayak.
Yeah.
Or you could find yourself really happy with a
mansion and a Ferrari.
mansion or a Ferrari. It doesn't. I mean,
saying?
there's really not. It really depends on the state of mind, you know,
Yeah, totally.
and where you're at. So to me, and when it comes to comfort and relaxation, I don't care if you're on a yacht.
Oh yeah.
Don't feel comfortable. I don't care if you're on a kayak. Don't feel comfortable. Always keep your wits about you.
Yeah.
Always make sure that you know where your exits are.
No, it's
Who the
important.
pe-
I mean, you know, you could you could push this into a compartment by saying, you know, statistically, a lot of fatality traffic accidents a mile from home.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people. Yeah.
And I mean, it's important to feel safe and all those things. And I'm sure there's times where you are, but yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, I don't like to be on my guard 24/7, but you kind of have to be. I mean, it's 2022 and people are out there, man.
Yeah, and I think that the thing is that we're like, if you statistically look at it, we're probably safer now than we ever have been.
Yeah, totally.
You know, there's with the advancements in medicine, with the advancements in technology, with the advancements of just kind of.
I have a story that's really relative, man.
Okay, yeah, man, bring it on.
So, when I moved to Phoenix and went to art school in 2000, I'm from Taylor originally.
Yeah.
And so I left. I think it was like March 18th or something. I left, 3 or 4 days early to move into my dorm and that sort of thing. And I'm driving through West Texas, and they must have had like a super bad winter. But apparently, you get out on the plains, like closer to El Paso and stuff, you're essentially at the bottom of the Rocky Mountains, and like weather can happen like real quick. And so I'm driving through down I-10, and it's snowy, and I mean like every 150 yards or every like half mile there's a dead deer. And I didn't have a cell phone at the time. This was like right on the cusp before everybody started having cell phones. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, it's 1 a.m. right now. Like if I had a wreck out of here, it's 28 degrees, and like you'd be in a real situation. So like you said, through cellular technology and GPS and cars with all these different things that they
bells and whistles.
They can alert EMS if you've had an accident and you're unconscious. Like, but dude, in a situation like that back then, if you got in a wreck out there in the middle of nowhere in I-10 and you couldn't see the car from the freeway, you might be out there for 4 or 5 months before somebody finds you.
Oh yeah, man.
And stuff like that used to happen, and people didn't get wind of it. And I think that's another thing. Like, this is really interesting. Just hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think social media, it's a platform for news to get to people like instantaneously.
Yeah.
And so, and you're also you build a social network through these platforms, and even though these people are friends of yours, you may talk to them once a week or something, but you're seeing their posts on a daily.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like, when bad things happen or deaths happen or accidents happen or anything like that, like there's so much more of a platform for it to be seen by other people that it kind of, in my opinion, makes life look like it's a little bit more crazier than it is.
Oh yeah,
because it's always been that way.
yeah.
But now we're finally seeing it because people are able to put it on blast like immediately. So that's kind of one thing I kind of keep in the back of my head, because I feel like
I forgot who I was listening to, but they were talking about like how 2022 feels like everything. It seems like there's like kind of a tension building of a lot of wars breaking out, right?
yeah.
But like, and they're like, well, where's America on this, and where's this on that? And I'm just like, if you actually go back and like you think of like what is it? Let's just say like Vietnam, Kosovo, all the things that we did in all the things that were happening in South America with like guerrilla factions. It's relatively calm. It just like it's just that social media and making the world smaller opens up the channels of information so that you can kind of see these things. Like,
totally.
I mean, if people were as neurotic and crazy as I were, they would have known about how what was going on in Georgia in 2006.
Oh yeah.
These things do pop off. These things happen. It's
or
just
like during the shutdown in Portland, there was all kinds of riots and stuff. And I had a buddy that lived out there, and he sent me some video, and I was just like, I mean, it looked like something that you would see in like Kosovo or something. Yeah, it was wild. I mean, and we're not used to that on American soil, but also.
But we are. I mean, because like
happened.
you have the riot.
It's happened plenty. Yeah.
You have the riots in California. You have the the riots that were happening during when they beat up the guy.
Rodney King.
Yeah, Rodney King. Yeah,
Floyd. All this stuff.
Yeah, the L.A. riots and all that other stuff. I mean, that stuff. I mean, you had people literally burning down whole blocks. Whole blocks were just up in flames, and it's just like. But the thing is that, when you have a lot of creature comforts, you have this amnesia, or you really have this like kind of like, everything feels so comfy. You know, everything kind of feels a little bit softer. The edges are kind of like sanded off. Yeah. So then then when these things do pop off, you're not quite ready for it, because there's literally like, I find there to be a lot of issues that I don't particularly like to open up. Like I don't particularly like the fact that to feel safe and comfort means that someone else is going to you're basically going to make someone else's behavior have to change as well. And then people are like, well, they're going to try and advocate for the person who is doing things to make your life more uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's just one of these things. It's always kind of a give and take, but the thing is that small town life it's kind of easy.
Oh yeah.
And even as hard as it seems is to have something as ridiculous as people bitching about a parade, or I don't know, dogs getting loose on the Taylor Community Watch. It's so minute, but it gets blown out of proportion where we have literal warnings. And like I said, I don't particularly want my nephews to have to concern themselves with not being able to come to a parade, because grown people don't know how to behave. Oh, I know. You have made now my life. Yeah. This is now affecting my life personally, because we have to consider the facts of letting one of my family members know that it's not safe for them to bring people that I love and consider more than anybody on a bulk, BS, forum, Taylor Community Forum, and telling them, hey, there's an issue, because now we're not exactly knowing how safe it can be. That's not the Taylor that I want particularly to have my nephews have to my sister have to concern herself with that kind of issue.
I'll put it to you this way, and like this is the best way that I can like convey it in my own words, in my own mind. If you're in a bar and there's a person to your left, a person to your right, somebody in front of you, and somebody behind you, like, maybe you agree with everything they're saying and doing, and you're fine. Or maybe the person in front of you is just being completely ugly, and
Yeah.
or you don't like them, or you had an experience with them that just makes you not want to see them, or who knows, whatever
Yeah.
your thought process is or your belief system. But it's also like, if that person in front of you isn't what you want to do, and the person to the left of you is like your hot chick friend or your best friend or whatever, why not turn to the left and just forget this other person is completely there? Like, it's that's what I do.
Yeah, you snuff them out, right?
Yeah, because
you
it's
just
like,
ignore them. I mean,
yeah,
don't give them energy.
Yeah, and like, and this brings me to one of my, like, I'm really proud of this because it took me. I used to have a really bad temper when I was younger. I'm a redhead, and I'm just like one of those people, and I had to learn how to like control it. And I did it without therapy. I did it without medication. It was something that I wanted to improve because I didn't like it when I flew off the handle. You know,
You wanted to take control of your emotions,
right? So now, since I'm about 35, I've really got it down packed, and like, I've just realized, man, like, pick your battles, you know.
Yeah.
And I actually made a gentleman upset a few months ago. I was at a bar having happy hour. I was over in Round Rock, and this guy sits down next to me, and he starts talking to me, and, you know, I don't want to be rude, but I kind of was not feeling talking to people, and I was just sitting there trying to do my thing. And he started, I'm not going to go into the subject, but he brought up a subject, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm really sorry. I don't share your opinion. I don't want to talk about why my opinion is different from yours. I don't want you to tell me why I should believe your opinion. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I don't want to engage now.
Yeah, and he got upset and started yelling at me and stuff, and I'm just like, all right, bro, I'm going to get my food to go, and I'm going to leave. And that's what I did. And, like, 25-year-old me, it would have been a completely different thing. But, you know, and I think, and I'm not trying to sound all gangster or nothing like that. I'm actually a super
I think it's
nice,
the opposite.
Yeah.
I think it's the thing.
But
is,
it's like,
actually probably the most gangster thing you could do. To tell you
Yeah,
the truth.
yeah.
Because, like, I mean,
like, you don't affect me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have time or energy for your BS.
Yeah.
So I'm going to remove myself from this situation and go do what I want to do, because there's no good that's going to come out of this conversation.
my thing is, it's always funny because we don't know each other that well, but I think you know me as a guy who is kind of friendly with everybody and
Yeah, totally.
very, very, how would you say it? Very social.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
able to kind of like move within groups and circles and talk to
No,
everybody.
I was stoked you
Yeah.
reached out. Like, I'm kind of an introvert, but I've gotten further away from that the older I get.
Yeah, and so when it comes to that, I always tell people that I when it comes to incidents that come with me about getting into arguments or fights, I always get told that I'm yelling at people. And the thing is that I always tell them, I was like, well, now I know you're lying.
Yeah.
I was like, because I don't yell.
I don't yell. I
And
don't
they're
either.
like, what do you mean you don't yell? And I'm like, because if I do yell, my voice cracks. You know, and so it's like, I cannot be taken seriously and yell. I sound like I'm going through puberty again,
Hey, bro,
man.
but you can't.
It's so funny. So it's like, but I also talk to them in a way that makes them feel like, you know, be like, you know, I've heard of like have you ever heard of someone saying a very off-colored joke and they want you to get it?
Yeah.
And so you're like, explain it to me.
Yeah.
Explain it to me. Explain it to me why that's so funny. And then they try and explain it to you, and you're like, well, I don't get that. Can you explain it some more? And then it's just like you no longer are you're antagonizing them because you're basically putting them on the spot. My thing is like, but why? What did I do to set you off?
Yeah.
Well, you did this or that and whatever. Well, I'm like, why did it set you off? Then?
Yeah.
And then that sets them off even more because now you're not. Yeah, you're engaging with them, but yeah, maybe I'm being. You know, it's a little bit disingenuous.
The other half of the thing is like, dude, I feel like people like that, they came there to do that.
Yeah.
Like, they wanted, like, maybe they're sick of arguing with their wife. So now they're still bent about something and they want to argue with somebody. I think there's certain. Well, actually, I'll take it back. I know there's people that enjoy arguing.
Oh, man.
It's like
It's an art.
Some people's favorite thing is to press a button and just to sit back and do this. You know,
Yeah, it's an art, man. It is. It's an art. It's an art to get people, to rile people up. And
yeah.
I mean, trolls do it the best, man. They do it the best. And it's whether you like a troll or hate a troll, man, you can literally have someone in there who's just going to, they'll get up real close and they'll be like, what did that guy mean by that? And then it's like, and then they'll just sit back and they'll watch the stream of comments. And
I got a great example about that. There was a while back, a friend of mine who was Asian, mind you, I had like 3 really good Asian friends. He sends me this thing, and he's like, "My God, dude, this is so funny." And so I watch it, and it's this guy that called 2 different Chinese restaurants. And then they were like trying to order from each other and arguing.
Okay.
And the guy's just got it on mute and he's just like rolling over laughing, you know. And I posted it and I'm like, oh my God, this is so funny. And then like one of my buddies chuckled, another guy wrote something, and then one of my Asian friends was just like, oh my God, dude, this is so funny. And then another one of my Asian friends is like, OMG. This is so hilarious. I'm sending it to my mom, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, 6 or 7 comments down the string. This thing's only been up like 30 minutes. And then one of my bike buddies who I like, you know, he's a fellow cyclist or whatever, but he's like super liberal, like super liberal, which is okay. No problem. He's like, this is racist. And I'm just like, no, it's not. It would have been no different if it was like a Texan or an English person or someone from Germany or like whatever.
The context isn't racist.
Right, but the point I'm getting at is like, and I don't want to go too crazy, but it's just like, dude, my Asian homies thought it was hilarious. One of them sent it to his mom. And
well,
then,
the thing about it is
that somebody else has got something to say, you know?
Well, so and I don't have I have issues, but I'm not going to unpack every issue that I have with this.
Right.
But when you feel it's necessary to step in for a group that didn't ask you to step in, you're essentially not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah.
You're taking control of a situation that has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And as much as I step away from women's rights, or I step away, but how would you say it? I step away from women's rights, but I'm an advocate, or I would definitely defend them. And the way I do it with the LGBTQ plus community, you can defend them. You can be an advocate. You don't have to insert yourself into every fight. I don't have to insert myself into every fight because I don't particularly know the social dynamic in their group. I don't. So the thing is that your buddy knew that you knew the social dynamics.
Yeah.
And was kind enough to fill you into that, which is something that I might do as a Hispanic.
Right.
And and fill you in with a joke that mainly you being in proximity of Hispanics would find funny because you grew up with that in that proximity.
Yeah.
So the thing is that you finding racism is you interpreting something that you feel is necessary to bring out.
Yeah.
But the thing is that now
it doesn't
really concern that.
Yeah, totally.
You've pulled at an unnecessary threat, and if it made you feel uncomfortable, what about that makes you feel uncomfortable around Asians? And should we unpack that? You know.
So take a wild guess what I did.
Deleted it.
I deleted the post.
But that's unfair to you, man.
I mean, to be honest though.
But I did the same thing. Okay, so like
the people I wanted to reach, I reached.
Yeah.
And like, so it should have been. I really should have just messaged it to my 3 Asian homies.
So you know, I know I'm gonna get some flack for this, but I'm 35 years old.
Yeah.
I grew up with The Simpsons and Apu, Mo, everything that Hank Azaria, I know I'm saying his last name, Hank touched, was a part of my childhood. Whether it was Birdcage, whether it was The Simpsons, whether it was all Hank Azaria was very, very prominent in the 90s. You know, he was on Friends. He did a bunch of stuff. He's very prominent in that thing. Well, in that time frame. Well, they changed Apu's voice, and now I guess they removed Apu completely.
Yeah.
Or they brought him back in, and now he's actually played by an Indian person. Carl's actually played by a black person. But that was essentially his voice, and he comes back. He pops back into the news 3 or 4 weeks ago saying, "Oh, if I could go up to every Indian person and apologize for the voice that I did of Apu, I would do that." And I said, and so I posted on there. I said, if he was truly sorry, he'd give back every penny he made from The Simpsons. If not, then he's asking for social validation of something that nobody asked for. And then everybody was like, "This is stupid. Why is he asking? Why are you saying he earned that money? He earned that money playing Apu. If he's truly sorry, give the money back. Donate it to the NAACP. I don't know. Donate it to an Indian foundation that helps them, you know, achieve, you know, prosperity and some sort of thing." But the thing is that he was looking for social validation because his name wasn't on the Twitter trending list. Yeah. And that's what makes me mad.
He got butthurt.
You know, and the thing, and that's what makes me, and so then it was just like, I ended up deleting the thing. I ended up deleting it too because it was just like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And then I was like, well, okay, let's dig into this deeper. Jim Carrey did Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah.
And then two or three months after Kick-Ass comes out, I think there was a shooting that happened.
Yeah.
And he was like, I denounced the movie.
Yeah.
I don't think gun violence is a thing that should, I think gun violence
we shouldn't play with this.
We shouldn't play with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, well, then give the money back.
Yeah.
Give the money.
Or donate it to something.
Donate it to
victims of that kind of stuff or something. Yeah.
But don't turn the narrative into this thing of like, now it's focused on me. Jim Carrey feels bad.
Yeah.
Oh, Jim Carrey feels bad about what he. No, Jim Carrey felt bad. He'd give every penny that he made on Kick-Ass to found, and maybe he did. Maybe I'm completely ignorant on it, and maybe he wrote a big check to combat that thing. But it, the thing is I very much doubt it. I very much doubt that either one of those two guys donated to anything that would basically. And the thing is also I said, don't pay penance to these people.
Yeah.
Don't pay penance to them.
Don't play their game. Yeah.
The thing is that you owe them nothing. I'm saying give the money back as a joke. Yeah. I don't care if you give the money back.
No.
Because it's not going to negate the fact that you played Apu for almost 27 years.
Yeah, and plus it's like, okay, we know you worked one way or another. You did voiceovers or whatever your work was. You did that. But if it's that bad, like you said, like if you want to make yourself feel right, that's probably the quickest way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of funny. I'm going to relate this to this.
Yeah. All right.
And I think this goes with multiple scenarios. Like if you're dating somebody and you pick up their phone and you start going through their phone, like there's something you can find.
Right? Yeah.
Guaranteed. And it's like, it's one of those things. It's like a kind of don't poke the bear situation, And so in these situations where there's touchy this or that, however you want to put it, yeah, just stay away from it. Because you open that can of worms, they crawl everywhere.
You're gonna touch the what is it? Touch the stovetop. You're gonna get burned.
Yeah, you're gonna get burned. It says it's hot. You wanted to make sure. Now you know.
Yeah, now you know. Man, I think we could go on for a lot longer.
Oh hell yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, but I appreciate you coming out. Let everyone know what you think of the studio.
No, this is wonderful. I really enjoyed Elias reaching out and going over a bunch of various things. And I don't know. I'm always happy to talk, man. I consider myself a conversationalist, and I feel like I have a decent mind. But yeah, man, it's just the world around us, and we take it how we will and do this and do that. But
I'm gonna be at the Christmas parade. I want to see what's gonna pop off, so I hope to see you there too.
Man, it'll be great. Everything will be fine. It's just people talk. That's
Taylor politics is just like anything else, man. Politics is goofy.
Those keyboard assassins, though, those are the ones. Like.
Everyone's got big britches. Did you watch and do you know who Tim Pool is?
Tim Pool, no sir.
Okay, so he's a commentary. So Tim Pool, he made Kanye. Well, Kanye West ended up walking off of his podcast, and then he seemed to get more bravado once Kanye West was gone. Yeah, and it always seems to work out that way. Yeah, you get a little bit more bravado when the person that you're talking about is out of the.
Oh, they ain't here. No, Debo's gone. Like,
yeah.
When Debo pull up, I shut up. And when he leave, I'll be talking.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Let's leave it on that, man. When Debo gone, I'll be talking again. There you go.
But hey, check it out. I appreciate it.
Thank you again, man. Y'all have a good rest of the day. Thank you for watching SUYL. Let's get your name one last time. And
Cody Seigmund. And if you want to see examples of my art, you can check me out at Cody Cody_Seigmund SEIGMUND_SRP on Instagram.
Cheers. All right, Mr. Cody. Thank you again, man.
Shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the canoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight. Elias knocked him out. Bow, Naruto fighting style. Bow, UFC he tapped out. Bow.